Hey everybody, this is Rykard here again, and welcome to another Pokemon X and Y analysis video. Today's video is all about Avalugg, so let's get started by taking a look at this Pokemon's typing, abilities, and stats. So to start things off, Avalugg is a mono ice type Pokemon introduced in Generation 6, and probably the reason why the Titanic sank. But as for its abilities, the first one that it gets is known as Own Tempo, which is a pretty good ability that makes it so that Avalugg can never be confused by any moves that would typically cause confusion, or have confusion as a secondary effect, such as the move Hurricane. But as for its next ability, it is known as Ice Body, which is an ability that allows you to recover a little bit of HP at the end of every turn when Hail is currently the weather effect on the field, and this is particularly useful when you are using Avalugg on a Hail team. As for its next ability and its last ability, it is known as Sturdy, which is Avalugg's hidden ability, which makes it able to live at full HP any attack regardless of how much damage it normally would do, meaning that pretty much Avalugg will be guaranteed to get off at least one attack if you are at full HP and do have this ability, which can be very useful for this Pokemon as it does have access to the extremely useful Rapid Spin move. But as for its stats, Avalugg has one of the most ridiculous defense stats in the world, with base 184 defense, and that, coupled with its 95 base HP, will allow this Pokemon to take physical hits for days, regardless of if they're super effective or not, just because of how bulky this Pokemon is from the physical side. Now obviously you don't want to stay in on a super effective physical move, but just to point out the fact that Avalugg can easily take them regardless because of how bulky it is from the physical side. Unfortunately though, its special defense is only base 46, so that will need a bit of investment to allow Avalugg to take some special hits pretty well, but more often than not you're going to be investing mostly into special defense on this Pokemon, just because it doesn't really need any physical investment because of how bulky it is from the physical side. But as for its attacking stats, Avalugg has base 117 physical attack, which is a very good physical attack, allowing it to potentially do some really solid damage with its physical attacking moves, but unfortunately only has a base 44 special attack, meaning that you probably won't be able to really run many special sets on Avalugg. And as for its speed, this is a fairly slow Pokemon with only base 28 speed, so you do need to keep in mind that Avalugg will be one of the slower Pokemon on your team, but more often than not this isn't too big of a deal because it does have access to recover to allow it to recover health and keep its HP up even if it goes after the opponent, and its strongest ice type attack that it has access to is Avalanche, which is a move that has negative priority anyway. So it's really not too big of a deal that it is slow, though it might be beneficial to invest some EVs into your speed to make this Pokemon just a bit faster to potentially outspeed Pokemon of base 30 or something like that. But with that, let's take a look at the first set that I have for you in this video. So for the first set I have for you in this video, I'm going to be showing off a defensive Avalugg set that I think is possibly one of the best ways to run this Pokemon. So we're going to start things off by giving it a Careful Nature to increase its special defense and lower its special attack, and for the ability we can either go with Own Tempo or Sturdy. As for the EVs, we're going to put 232 into its HP, 252 into its special defense to max that out, and then the remainder 24 EVs into its speed, just to make it a little bit faster. And for the item, we're going to be going with Leftovers to allow Avalugg to recover a little bit of HP at the end of every turn. But as for the moves, the first thing that we're going to go with on this set is going to be Avalanche, as it is the strongest ice-type attack that Avalugg does learn. Unfortunately, it doesn't learn Icicle Crash, but the great thing about Avalugg is that it does have negative priority, but because of how slow Avalugg is to begin with, it doesn't really matter, and when your opponent attacks you on the same turn you use Avalanche, the base power of Avalanche is doubled from 60 to 120, meaning that it allows this Pokemon to do some even more damage than it normally would be able to. But along with Avalanche, we are going to run a coverage move in either Crunch or Earthquake. Personally, Crunch could be the better option, mainly because of the third move on this set, which is going to be Rapid Spin, which, as many of you know, is one of the most sought-after moves in the game, as it does allow you to spin away any entry hazards that your opponent may have set up on your side of the field. And the reason for running Crunch would be to be able to hit all those Pokemon that would be able to spin block your Rapid Spin, namely the Ghost types, because Crunch will be able to hit them for super effective damage. But if you do want a more reliable coverage move, and a move that will probably hit things for super effective damage more often, Earthquake is definitely the way to go, but Crunch in combination with Rapid Spin is a very good combo to allow you to get rid of any potential spin blockers that may try to prevent a Rapid Spin from Avalugg. And the last move on the set that we are going to be running is going to be Recover, to allow Avalugg to recover half of its HP every single time it goes for this move, to increase its staying power and allow it to continue to take hits for your team. So overall, with max special defense on the set, Avalugg is very easily able to take physical hits due to its natural bulk in that set, or in that stat, and also some special hits as well because we are investing fully in that, and obviously Recover is there to allow us to recover off any damage we receive, while also being able to dish out some damage with our other attacks and spin away entry hazards. Up next, I have yet another way to run a defensive Avalugg, but this set is quite a bit more bulky than the previous one. So we're going to start off again with a Careful Nature and the ability of either Own Tempo or Sturdy, and then we're also going to run the same EV spread of 232 HP EVs, 252 Special Defense EVs, and 24 Speed EVs. But the item this time is going to be an Assault Vest, which is an item released into the 6th generation that allows you to boost your Special Defense by 1 stage on any Pokemon carrying it, but it also forces you to only use attacking moves, which does a little bit hinder this set because you can't use Recover, but it does make your special bulk immensely higher, allowing Avalugg to take special hits amazingly well and so much better than it normally would be able to, which can be very surprising to any opponent you might be running into. But for your moves, again, we're going to go with Avalanche as our main Ice-type stab attack, and then Crunch is going to be there to, again, work in combination with Rapid Spin to get rid of any potential spin blockers we might be running into. Rapid Spin, because it does count as an attacking move, because it does do damage, is amazing for this set, because it still allows Avalugg to have utility, even though it is forced to only be using attacking moves. And then for the third move slot, we could either go with Earthquake for more coverage, or Mirror Coat, which a lot of people don't actually realize counts as an attacking move. So with Mirror Coat, in particular, you are able to actually dish out a ton of damage to any special attacker that would typically want to come in and deal damage to Avalugg to hit it on its weaker defense. But because of the Assault Vest item, we are actually going to take very minimal damage from most special attacks directed at it, and be able to Mirror Coat them right back at our opponent and potentially take them out in the process. Now keep in mind, since this is a Psychic type move, it doesn't work against Dark type Pokemon, but for the most part, Avalugg will definitely have a more reliable killing move in the form of Mirror Coat that will more or less be surprising against most opponents, as they either don't know that this Pokemon packs it or won't expect it to take a special hit as well as it does and expect to die on the same turn due to the Mirror Coat. But again, Earthquake is a little bit more of a reliable coverage move that you can use for your own attacking purposes, so that is still a viable option on this set. Up next, I have a fully offensive set for Avalugg that seeks to make use of its really great attack stat. So we're going to start this one off by giving it an Adamant Nature to increase its physical attack and lower its special attack, and then we're going to be going with either Own Tempo or Sturdy as our ability. As for the EVs though, we're going to put 232 into its HP, 252 into its physical attack to max that out, and then 24 EVs into its speed. And for the item, we can either go with a Life Orb to increase the damage of all of our attacks while having a 10% recoil, an Expert Belt to increase the damage of all of our super effective attacks, and then Leftovers possibly as the last option for our item to allow Avalugg to have a little bit more recovery at the end of every turn while it seeks to do some massive damage to your opponent's team. But for the moves, the first one that we're going to be going with yet again is going to be Avalanche, as it is the best Ice-type attack this Pokemon is able to easily make use of, and then we're also going to be running Earthquake for coverage on the set. And for the last attacking move of the set, we can either run Crunch or Stone Edge to give Avalugg some more type coverage. With Stone Edge, you get the really awesome Edge-Quake combination that is fairly unresisted, and with the Ice-type stab working in combination with that, you get some really fantastic type coverage. But Crunch could also be used for specific opponents as well that you think you might need it for. And in the last move slot, we are going to run Recover as a way to keep Avalugg's health up throughout battle while it seeks to dish out damage to the opponent. And this is essential for this Pokemon due to it's not running Rapid Spin on this set, so Stealth Rocks are going to be a bit more of a problem, but either way, it's still a really good move to have to allow Avalugg to more readily make use of the Life Orb ability, and also potentially get it, Life Orb item, and also potentially to get it up into Sturdy range if you are running Sturdy on this set, so that you can easily survive whatever attack your opponent goes for if you are at full HP. And overall, this is just a really solid way to run a sustaining offensive set for Avalugg. Up next, I have an offensive bulky boosting set for Avalugg to run. So we're going to start this one off by giving it a Careful Nature to increase its special defense and lower its special attack, and then we're again going to be choosing between Own Tempo or Sturdy. As for the EVs, we're going to put 248 into its HP, 8 into its physical attack, and then 252 EVs into its speed to max its special defense, along with the item Leftovers this time to recover a little bit of HP at the end of every turn. But as for the moves, the first one that we're going to be going with on this set is going to be Curse, which will allow Avalugg to boost its physical attack and physical defense by one stage, while also having the negative side effect of lowering its speed, but because this Pokemon is pretty slow as it is, the speed drop from Curse really isn't that big of a deal. But again, to go along with our boosted attack and defense, we will be able to make use of Avalanche and Earthquake as really solid coverage moves on the set to allow it to do some really solid damage to pretty much anything you're going to run into, because this type coverage is actually really good. And for the last move on the set, we can either go with Recover to allow you to recover HP and obviously keep your health up as you set up with curses, or you could go with Substitute to get you behind a protective barrier to shield you from attacks and statuses while you set up with Curse. And just to keep in mind, when you go for Curse on this Pokemon, its physical defense is going to be absolutely enormous and allow it to take physical hits extremely well. Like, there will be nothing that will probably be able to break through this thing from the physical side after you've set up a couple curses. And obviously its physical attack is really great as well, so it will definitely be able to do some solid damage with Avalanche and Earthquake as its main attacking moves, and then keep its health up through recover, and also potentially block statuses or keep a sub up to shield it from attacks with the use of Substitute. Up next, I have another boosting set for Avalugg, but this one works quite a bit differently than the one you just saw. So we're going to start this one off by giving Avalugg a Jolly Nature to increase your speed but lower your special attack, and then we're going to be choosing between Own Tempo or Sturdy again as our ability. As for the EVs, we're going to put 252 into its physical attack, 4 into its special defense, and then 252 EVs into its speed to max its physical attack and speed along with the Jolly Nature. And it is just important to keep in mind that because level 50 stats are a little weird, at level 50, if you are using this Avalugg over Wi-Fi, you are going to want to swap 4 special defense EVs for HP at level 50 so that the EV spread becomes 4 HP EVs, 252 physical attack EVs, and 252 speed EVs to make sure that you have an odd HP number, which is important for any Pokemon like Avalugg that is weak to Stealth Rock. But for the item, we are going to be going with either a Life Orb to increase the damage of all of our attacks, an Expert Belt to increase the damage of all of our attacks to hit our opponent super effectively, and Leftovers as a potential option to allow Avalugg to recover a little bit of HP at the end of every turn. But as for the moves, the first thing that we're going to be going with on this set is going to be the boosting move of this set, which is Rock Polish, and this move will boost Avalugg's speed by 2 stages, making it quite a bit faster. Now, Avalugg still is very slow even after 1 Rock Polish, but if you are able to set up a Rock Polish on a physical attacker, you more often than not will be able to get an opportunity to set up 2 of them to make Avalugg be extremely fast and allow it to outspeed a ton of different opponents that you are running into, including Scarfed ones. So this is a very good way to allow you to make use of its really solid physical defense in order to allow it to boost its speed and outspeed a ton of different opponents. But since we are going to be fast on this set, our main Ice-type attack is going to come in the form of either Ice Fang or Ice Ball. Now, Ice Ball isn't a move that you commonly see, but if you are pretty fast and are able to outspeed your opponents, Ice Ball can be a really great move as it will increase in its base power at the end of every turn to become extremely stronger after you have used it a couple times. Now, keep in mind you are locked into this move similar to the way Rollout works when you do use it, but if you do have a team of if your opponent's team isn't going to be resisting Ice-type attacks after you've maybe taken out whatever Pokemon might be resisting it, like a Water or Fire or Steel-type, you can probably lock yourself into this move and sweep your opponent's team as the power of this move increases. However, more often than not, Ice Fang will be the more reliable option and also has the chance to potentially flinch an opponent as well as freeze them, which can come in handy to allow you to do even more damage to them if you do get either of those effects to activate. But for another coverage move, we are going to be running Crunch or Stone Edge on the set, depending on what you think you're going to be needing Avalugg to hit super effectively. And then for the last move slot, we are going to be running Earthquake to give you a very solid coverage move in combination with Ice Fang and either Crunch or Ice Fang or Ice Ball and either Crunch or Stone Edge. So overall, this is a way to boost Avalugg's speed, which might seem a little bit weird, but because of its crazy bulk from the physical side, you will often very easily get an opportunity to be able to set up a Rock Polish and allow Avalugg to potentially sweep an opponent's team. And lastly, I have a defensive Hail set for Avalugg to run. So we're going to start this one off by giving it a Careful Nature to increase its special defense and lower its special attack. And then we're going to be going with the Ice Body ability to allow Avalugg to recover a little bit of HP at the end of every turn when the effects of Hail are up on the battlefield. As for the EVs, we're going to put 232 into its HP, 252 into its special defense to max that out, and then 24 EVs into its speed. And as for the item, we can either go with an Icy Rock to allow Avalugg to extend the turns of Hail from 5 turns to 8, or leftovers to allow it to recover a little bit of HP at the end of every turn, which will also stack very nicely with the Ice Body if you do have Hail up. But since this set is meant to support Hail teams, the first move that we are going to be making use of on this set is going to be Hail, to allow Avalugg to set that up for its entire team, making Blizzards super accurate, never going to miss, and also just allow Pokemon that really make use of some powerful Ice-type moves to really threaten your opponents and potentially do some significant damage to them through their repeated Ice-type attacks. Now, obviously, if you are going with the Icy Rock, this will benefit your team for longer, but with leftovers in combination with Ice Body, Avalugg will be recovering a ton of health at the end of every turn, which will definitely increase its bulk significantly. But for the moves, as far as attacking purposes are concerned, again, we are going to be going with Avalanche to be your main Ice-type attack, and then we are also going to be making sure we run Rapid Spin on this set to allow Avalugg to spin away any entry hazards, specifically Stealth Rock, which will typically be the bane of many Hail-based teams' existence due to most Ice-type Pokemon being weak to them. So Rapid Spin is a key move for this set to allow Avalugg to be a very supportive Pokemon that can also set up the Hail weather. And for the last move slot on this set, we could either go with Crunch to work in combination again with Rapid Spin to get rid of any ghost types that we may be running into, or Recover to increase its recovery even more and allow this Pokemon to stay alive for longer in the battle and repeatedly set up Hail or repeatedly spin away hazards if our opponents keep trying to set them up. But honestly, if you do keep in mind that the recovery from leftovers and Ice Body is going to be very significant, you can go with Crunch very easily on the set. But if you do go with Icy Rock, I would recommend Recover a little bit more so than Crunch to just increase the turns that you are able to survive in order to allow you to keep your HP up longer, and also be able to set up Hail longer because there is no permanent way to keep Hail up anymore. But 8 turns should be plenty for your team to allow it to do some significant damage under the effects of Hail. But anyways, everybody, that is it for this video, so I wanted to thank you all for watching, and feel free to subscribe to my Twitch channel, as well as follow me on Twitter, and also bookmark the database of Avalugg, as well as all the other Pokemon that I've done in the analysis series, as this database will have all the sets for this Pokemon and everyone else right there for you to easily copy and paste into Pokemon Showdown, or just use it for your own breeding purposes and EV training. And for the last thing to mention, everybody, please feel free to join the Zat at zat.com/pokegrounds, as you will find a very easy way to battle and chat and trade with people, and maybe even find some friend safaris with some Pokemon you're looking for in particular. I would also like to thank everybody for the wonderful tournament that we ran today. Congrats to Aaron1997 on winning the tournament with your mono fighting team. You did absolutely fantastic job, and everyone else in the tournament definitely put up a great fight. So thank you guys for another successful Master of Them All tournament, and I should be hopefully getting another one of those out to you soon, but we'll have to figure out some really cool stuff to do for that in the future. But anyways, everybody, that is it for this video. So as always, thank you all for watching, take care, goodbye, and I will see you all next time.